Thank you very much for the invitation. It's also my real honor to be here and to speak with you. I will also try to, same as there, I will try to speak as an observer with some 25 years of election observation experience. And so I think when it comes to your first question, I think the EU has really come up with a very comprehensive toolbox. I think we heard the previous speakers describing the Digital Services Act, requiring platforms to assess systematic risks, be transparent about ads, adjust algorithms when disinformation threatens elections, the AI Act, which bans manipulative AI and classifies election-related AI as high risk. The Media Freedom Act, which protects the editorial independence, the TTPA, which sheds light on political advertising. But I think there are two main problems with these laws. The first one we heard actually Ms. Alexandra Gysi to say, that the European Commission is actually not doing its job to implement these laws. And the second one is what I would say from the observation perspectives, and as you really said in your question, I mean, the election move fast, but laws move very slow. So I think those of us who have actually experienced being part of election observation, I mean, we know that if you do things after the elections, I mean, this will not be enough to sort of ameliorate the actual damage, which is happening in real time. And unfortunately, with these new tools, this is really what is happening. And so perhaps three things to talk, maybe to offer, to bridge this gap. And very much repeating what some of the previous speakers already said. I really believe that we need real-time transparency tools. I really believe that these databases of political ads under the TTPA or DSA must be available in real time, not days or weeks later. And this is something that we have experienced personally, and we know that the media regulators are experiencing. So they are actually in a better position as institutions vis-a-vis, the platforms, but they are basically experiencing these delays. And this is actually even the period before Trump won elections. When there were definitely more efforts to be more cooperative. So now it's even worse. I think, and Stephanie mentioned this already, I think as election observers we need to have guaranteed access to platform data. Otherwise we will see only half of the election campaign. I mean, unless we can really see what is happening, unless we see the labeling, especially coming now with AI-generated content. Without this we cannot verify or counter manipulation as it happens. And the third is the possibility of tying the crisis protocols of DSA, to elections. We saw that it is possible. We saw it during the pandemic, that the platforms were reacting much more quickly. Why is not possible to do this also during elections? With the question of trust, I think this is my biggest worry, again, as someone who has spent years focusing on elections, because we see the trust is declining. I mean, one example, in 2023 in Slovakia, more than 50% of people believed that the elections would be manipulated several months before actually the elections took place. And so I believe that one potential way how to tackle this problem is actually election observation. So election observation, both international or domestic, I think acts as democracy's early warning system. And I think it not only detects manipulation, but it also rebuilds the confidence, because you can see things with your own eyes. And this is, I think, what matters now. So I would really, advocate for election observation per se. And the last question is somehow related to, how can EU ensure that actually observers and those that Stephanie mentioned at the very beginning, the colleagues who are currently imprisoned just mainly for doing their job of election observation, I mean doing their job for civic activism, which I think is the best sort of recipe to these negative trends. Disinformation is, the main aim of disinformation is to turn societies into being very passive. I mean, we see what happened in Russia. And so I propose that the best way to tackle this is actually by activism. And also the question is somewhat personal for me, because as we speak, my organization is facing criminal investigation into 2023 Slovak parliamentary elections, when we were basically doing a couple of different types of projects. One was to improve the information environment by doing this voting advice application, where we involved all the parties and included, the election platforms, so people could make more informed choices. The second one was to do with mobilization of first and second time voters. So I think here what we see is that these bad actors are not only weaponizing information, but they are also weaponizing institutions. And these institutions are then used against observers. So here I would like to propose that not only the Venice Commission, which already has done so, but also the EU recognize observers as human rights defenders, and that we really are able to do our job, and we don't have to experience our colleagues being imprisoned for several years simply for what they are doing. So I'll stop here, but happy to answer any questions at a later stage.